Welcome to the Financial Heartbeat Podcast with Mike Klauke. In this podcast, we talk about overcoming the challenges families and business owners face in their financial lives. We discuss big and small life events, the implications, and how to plan ahead and control what you can. Let us help you redefine the retirement that's in front of you into a better one. Now, on to today's episode.
Hello and welcome to the inaugural podcast with Mike Klauke. This is your opportunity to find out a little bit more about Mike himself, what makes him tick, and what has kept him in the financial services industry as long as he's been. So, Mike, welcome to the show.
Well, good. Thanks for having me, Matt. Yeah, it's been a long time. 1983 is when I started in the industry.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about 1983. Why did you decide to even do this as a career?
Well, my dad had worked for Northwestern Mutual Life for many years, and I had an opportunity to see how his practice worked. Unfortunately, he became disabled, and he said, why don't you go in? You can service some of our clients, some of his clients, which I did, and then I can also do it while I went to school at UW-Stevens Point. One of the great things about Northwestern Mutual Life, and I take my hat off to them, I've got some wonderful training and they really taught me a lot about the financial services industry, is their internship program. So I did that for 4 years, when I was at Ripon and then at UW-Stevens Point, where I graduated with a degree in business. And then I worked with them until the early 90s. And I really enjoyed Northwestern Mutual Life. I like the insurance world. I think there's some really cool things you can do in there and use that as a tool. But as the world evolved, Matt, all of a sudden these really neat things called Roth IRAs were invented, and there were all the other different tools out there. And I just wanted to get more than just an insurance in my toolbox. So then I ended up doing the whole full financial planning with stocks, bonds, mutual funds, everything. And it was a much better fit for me.
So who do you work with? What is your specialty? How do you define who your ideal client is?
Well, I work with a lot of different people working, here in the tri-state area. Probably the biggest thing is most of my clients are within 20 or 30 miles, but frankly, I have people all over the country that we do work with. I work a lot with business owners. Business owners are who I am. I know a lot about being a small business. I own my own small business. I have my own staff. I have to make payroll. I have to pay the bills. We're an independent representative, which I think is really cool. So I like working with small businesses. I like having them help them with solutions. I've worked with many businesses as they've transitioned into retirement. I've helped people to sell their businesses over time. Not that I do the sales, but bottom line is I'm there as a consultant and people can talk to me and get my opinion because I've helped folks with that before. I also love to work with their retirement plans, whether it's a 401k, whether it's a simple plan, whether sometimes it's just using SEPs for them, or sometimes it's sole proprietors and we just have to use IRAs. I like to come up with that process. But I'm also really, another area that I'm real passionate about that I really like to do is the people that are about 10 to say 5 years away from retirement, where you really sit down and you start planning out your path. And we have some neat tools that we can use to help people get prepared to retire. So when I look, those are two different groups of people that I work with. But, I also have some young families because of my life insurance background, and we still write a ton of term life insurance. So, and I think the way we do it is really sort of cool because we have a whole bunch of different companies that we can go to. Being independent, we can talk to anybody, and we can come up with a plan that really fits those folks' needs.
Well, I think you just really answered the next question, which is fantastic, which is what you do for your clients. So you really are a comprehensive financial advisor. There isn't a stone that you don't try to overturn. Is that correct?
Well, working with the client, yeah. If you have a question, I think, what makes our office unique is that if you have a question, I may not have the answer. I mean, I'm the first one to say I've actually got a technical tax question this week that I did not have the answer for. But I was able to pick up the phone, call two different accountants, got two different opinions, and called the person back up and said, again, I'm not 100% sure what the answer is here, but here's the question that you need to go talk to your tax preparer And I think we're going to end up meeting with the preparer together and try to come up with a solution. So I think that's what really makes us unique, is that we will dig deep. It's just not about managing money. It's just not about insurance. It's about helping people to transition to different stages of their life. And I think that's really an important part of what we do, Matt.
Yeah, having a trusted guide that has done this many, many times to help you through those transitions is absolutely huge. Now, how do you acquire new clients?
Well, a lot of our clients come through referrals, and I think that's very awesome that many of our clients will say to someone, you should go talk to Mike, and I'm guessing that some people have listened, have heard about us from other people. We never charge when somebody wants to come in and sit down. I think it's very important that we sit down and we decide mutually, is this going to work? Because sometimes, we may just not click. And I think it's very important that you click with your financial advisor. I've also done a show on a couple of different radio stations called The Money Doctor for years. And we've picked up numerous clients there. Plus, I am fairly active in the community, and I've been able to find clients through that, just through getting to know folks by being an active part of, the greater La Crosse area.
Let's talk about that. What do you do in the community? What are the sorts of things that you either volunteer for or you help out the community with?
Well, I have always been a part of Big Brothers Big Sisters, which I think is just a fabulous organization. I actually was a Big for a short period of time. Unfortunately, I got transferred, so I wasn't able to do it as long as I wanted. But bottom line is, it works with young kids, and our goal is to try and get a mentor into their life. And I have been the primary sponsor at Decatur for Kids' Sakes for years, which is one of their biggest fundraisers. Plus, I've also worked with them. I've been on their board. At one time, I was an officer on their board. So I've not only, when I didn't have the treasure to give, I gave more of my time, because I think that's very important. In 2017, I actually was the chairperson for the greater, for the Greater United Rivers United Way, and actually ran a campaign that I thought was very successful. We raised roughly $2 million, and we support a whole bunch of great nonprofits in our area. Not to mention, I've been a longtime supporter and a coach for the Boys and Girls Club. I had an opportunity to coach my kids through youth basketball. I helped start a youth basketball program in Holman with a couple of other guys. And I think we're real active. Now, one of the things I'm doing, because we moved to Brownsville, is I'm actually a member of the Brownsville Lions Club, which I think is really cool, because I'm back to just being a member, which I love. And what's unique about that is they really help the folks in Brownsville, which I just think is really cool, Matt.
Let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about your team. Who do you have on board, and what do they do?
Well, I have Eve Opland. Eve is fully licensed. She can do literally anything I can do. She is a spectacular resource. And Matt, you and I have known each other for a long time. I'm very detailed orientated to a point, but she, because of her mortgage background, is incredibly good at the details. Nothing slips through the cracks with Eve. If you need help, if you have a question, if you need to get something from an account, she does a spectacular job of that, and she can take care of any of those sort of issues for you. So, she's just great. I also have Julie Devine, who is more of our marketing, more of our sales assistant. Julie has been with us now for about 4 years, and she too has, she's great. She'll take your messages, and she'll make sure that we know to call you back. And one thing, Matt, that I think is just incredibly important is that you will hear back from us. If you call us before 3 o'clock, we are going to do our darndest to get back in touch with you before the end of business that day. If you call us at 9 in the morning, we're going to try and be back in touch with you, for sure before the market closes at 3 o'clock. I just think that's very important. And if it's not me, it'll be one of my staff. But one of the neat things is, you can always talk to me because I am the principal, and yes, I am here to answer your questions. But a lot of our clients have really found that working with Julie, they're able to get a lot of this stuff accomplished that they need done, like, getting online, being able to see their statements, getting money out of an account, putting money into an account, so I think we have a great team, and I've always thought that was very important, Matt.
You definitely surrounded yourself with some amazing people, and I'm sure that we should get some of the team on the podcast and have an opportunity for everybody to hear, pretty much straight from the horse's mouth and find out what they do and who they are and what makes them tick. Let's talk about your education specifically. So you're the principal, and you have been doing this for a long time. Is there any advanced designations or education that you have in financial services?
Well, yeah, because I came up more on the insurance side. I have the chartered life underwriter, the chartered financial consultant, and then the retirement income planning piece, the RICP. Those are all done through the American College, which I think, has a stellar reputation. I also have a BA in business that I got a long time ago, back in 1987. That just basically means I'm old, Matt. But bottom line is, yes, I do have a degree in business too. But yes, I think it's imperative that we always get education. In fact, I will try to go to anywhere between 1 and 2 conferences a year outside of my company, which is Securities America, because I think it's important to get to hear different thought processes on investing, on insurance, on savings, on taxes. I think you have to always be doing education.
What is your financial philosophy?
Ooh, that's a fun question. Number one, anyone that knows me will tell you that I absolutely hate debt. I think in doing this for all these years, one of the things that I've noticed is, as you get ready to retire, if we can figure out how to have as little debt as humanly possible for you, I think that's really important. Now, I think debt is extremely important. It's a great tool to be able to build your wealth over time. It's a great way to buy homes. Yes, I think now you almost have to do it to buy cars. And it's not that debt is bad. It's just I like it to be able to be eliminated. In fact, I was meeting with a client today. They're about 8 years away from retirement, and we put a strategy together so that when they do retire, they'll be debt free. And it was just by adding some extra money every month. My other philosophy is I believe that you need to have some fun along the way. Unfortunately, my mom passed away at age 62. My wife's mom passed away at age 62. We don't know how many days we're going to have on this earth. So while I think it is incredibly important that you plan for the future, I think you don't want to do it at such a point that it's detrimental to you not having some fun or having some experiences along the way. So I think that's very important. And I think especially as you have kids and grandkids, that you want to make sure that you're able to spend quality time with them. I always joke, especially with parents, that, you want to stick around with your kids when they're younger, when they like you, because, as they get older, they don't want to be around mom and dad quite as much. And then they seem to come back. So that's sort of my philosophy is, you've got to make sure that you plan for tomorrow, but definitely you want to live for today.
Mike, you and I have had many, many conversations about the times when your children aren't as big of a fan of you as their parent. And I hope that you and I have an opportunity to chat a little bit more about that on this show, because your outlook on parenting is truly fantastic. So we're going to switch gears now into your life. So we had an opportunity to ask you some questions about, who you are and what you do. But now I want to find out what happens when Mike Klauke isn't working. So when you're not working, what do you do for fun?
Well, now that is, my wife would tell you that I'm always having fun, because I actually do like what I do most of the time. It's not fun when the stock market goes down, obviously, or investments are down, but I do really enjoy working, because what I like is to get to talk and get to know a lot of different people. We are foodies. We love to go to good restaurants or bad restaurants as it is, but just get good food. So I love being out there. One of the things, Matt, is that I've actually run a marathon. I've run a couple of different marathons. I wouldn't say that was fun, but it was definitely an experience. Unfortunately, I blew a knee out, so I'm not able to do that. But I do try to spend, 30 to 60 minutes a day exercising all the time. And I actually find that to be fun when I'm done. It's not fun while I'm doing it. Love to be on the river. I love getting to, see the great outdoors here in La Crosse. We spend a lot of time on the river, love to fish. And are trying to figure out fishing on the river after fishing in lakes my whole life. And, and then I do like to spend a lot of time with my kids. But frankly, I'm in a transition time because I had spent a ton of time in gyms coaching. And now my kids are through, and I may go back and do that again because I really did enjoy working with young folks. But, I'm also enjoying now spending some time with friends and, having some time to spend with our family and go all over and watch them grow up.
Who is your hero?
Well, that is an interesting person because when you talk like big names, it wouldn't be anyone like that. It's actually my grandfather, because with an 8th grade education, he ran the largest Chicago cemetery for the Catholic Church. He wrote what was unique, and it was interesting because recently I found some of his diaries, but he actually wrote a couple of paragraphs every day about what had happened for that day, especially after he retired. He lived on a lake, and he kept track of how many fish he caught, who he gave the fish away to, but then a little bit about the weather, about what happened. And he just firmly believed that if you wrote and you read, that was the way to get an education. And to see, what he was able to do with so little education, it's just something that I will always take my hat off.
If you had all of the money in the world that you ever needed, what would you do?
Wow. Again, I'd work with kids. I mean, I would donate the money. I mean, that sounds really, really crazy. I would travel all over. I do absolutely love to travel, especially in the United States. I think that, we all want to go around the world, but I would love to really see the United States and really get to know people in the different cities. There's nothing better, at least that I like, and it sort of drives my son nuts because whenever we travel together, I do this. I love to go into a gas station or love to go to a hotel and say, okay, where is the place that you would go to eat that no one's ever going to tell me? And, you could find some really cool restaurants and meet some really cool people when you do that. So I would travel, but I'd certainly also want to help folks because I think that that's really important.
Who is your favorite person in history and why?
Well, one of them, because I'm a huge Green Bay Packer fan, is I have to say, Vince Lombardi. I just thought that Vince Lombardi was a coach, and granted, I don't remember him. It's from reading and from hearing and growing up in Green Bay, having former players talk about him. They all basically sounded like they would go through a wall for Coach Lombardi. And it had nothing to do so much with the wins and the losses, but it was that he treated each and every one of them with respect. And sometimes he even made them pay when he knew they had done dumb things. Paul Hornung talked about how he had snuck out one night, and Vince had him run a lot of runs in a game, even after the Packers were being beat. And it was pretty much hey, I know what you did, so you've got to pay your price. The other person that I look at when I think about it, history, is I really respected Walter Cronkite. He was a gentleman that I think for many years was a calming force in the United States as a great television broadcaster. And what I loved about him was his demeanor. I mean, some of my first memories were when people were walking on the moon and he was talking about it because we were watching it on TV and he was the commentator. I just think we don't have people like that anymore. And I just think he did so much for this country, and he did it in a very humble, calm way. And I wish we could find more Walter Cronkites in the world.
When you think of success, how do you define it and what does it mean to you?
Well, when I look at success, I think it's when you're able to hit your full potential. And there's nothing that I like more than helping someone else. Maybe I can give an idea or can help or talk to them about something that they can do to make their situation better and to improve themselves. And it's no different than me talking to someone and having them help me come up with some ideas, whether it's colleagues, whether it's working with a charity, whether it's a whole bunch of different things. But I think helping other people reach goals is just a huge, to me, that's really being successful.
Name one thing that you recommend the most to families and friends or clients. This can be a book, it can be a video, it can be pretty much anything. But what is that one go-to thing that you have, Mike?
Well, my standard thing again is, I'll go back to what I said earlier, enjoy life today. Look at today. Don't, it is so important to plan. Please don't think I don't believe that. But, live in the moment. I think the biggest mistake that I see people making is they're always hoping or wishing for something to come down the pike. Bottom line is make plans, take short things, learn, continue to keep learning, but live some for today, because again, we don't know what tomorrow will bring. So my advice to all my clients is enjoy where you're at today, and then maybe, and continue to plan. As far as books or things like that go, I love reading. Again, I've read many books about many sports figures, and I just love a good book that gives you a solid story that you can learn something from. And that's probably another thing that I really try to do is, try to, whenever I go to a meeting or whenever I go to a conference, try to pick up one good idea that I can bring back and put to use.
Name one thing that most people don't know about you.
Oh, I played the tuba in high school, which a lot of people don't know. In fact, I had an opportunity to probably be a tuba player at the UW-Madison. At the time, it wasn't as big of a deal as it is now. But yes, I was a tuba player. I actually played in a whole bunch of tuba players and a couple of quartets and all kinds of different things in music. I absolutely loved it. And yes, I can play polkas. It was a ton of fun growing up. I did it for many years. And, a lot of people don't know I played the tuba.
What is so you might have answered this already, which is your mantra? Why don't you, even if it is the exact same thing that you talked about as the one thing that you recommend most to clients, families, or friends, let's just take a second. And is there another mantra that keeps you on track when you're not focused, or is it the same kind of, live a little bit for each day?
Well, I think you've got to, when the world isn't working perfect, you've got to take one step at a time. Sometimes you've just got to step back and say, okay, where am I going? How am I going to get there? When you wake up in the middle of the night and you're just worried or you're under stress, it's like, all right, what's my plan going to be? And then how am I going to go forward? Because what I've found in life is you can spend a lot of times looking backwards, and you need to learn from the past. That is what the past is for. But you've got to keep moving forward, because if you can keep moving forward, then you will be successful.
Second to last question. What is your proudest achievement?
Oh, I think that's really easy. I think it's the fact that I've had an opportunity to raise two spectacular kids. They're doing really well. Allison, my oldest daughter, is actually going to graduate a semester early, which is very cool, from college, and she will be starting as a assistant brand manager for Satori Cheese over in the Plymouth area. She has done a spectacular job. She's taken a liberal arts degree and a marketing degree and really turned it into something very cool. And I couldn't be more proud of her. She has just done a spectacular job. My son, Jonathan, is now a freshman at Drake University, has always done well, did extremely well in his ACT, has been a good student. And, when you talk to people about Johnny, what they tell you about him is that he is just, he's the sort of person, as one mom said to me, that, I'm happy my daughter is going to prom with him. He's just a good kid. He works hard. He's, figuring out college, which is quite a transition. So that's really important. The other thing professionally is I think that I'm very proud of the office we've built. This is really what I have hoped to do. And I'm not saying we're perfect, because we're not. But I think that we've really built an office where we've really gotten to know our clients. We have an event every year called Breakfast with Santa that over 300 people traditionally come to. We actually had a blizzard a few years back, Matt, and we only had 4 people not come. The snow stopped, but bottom line is it was treacherous to come, and still 300 plus people came to see Santa. And I think that it's fun because I've gotten to see these families grow up. In fact, I just had someone talk to me this week, because we're having the event soon, and said, this will be our first year we're not coming because, well, our kids are now all in middle school and high school. And, and I've been thinking about that because I've watched them grow up coming to see Santa, which is very, very cool. And so I think we've built a nice office. I think we've got a good team, and I'm really proud of what we do. Are we perfect? No. I'd love to tell you every investment we have goes up. But bottom line is I think we put together a good lineup of what we do. I think we have a good system in place. I think I have spectacular staff, and I think we can really help our clients and as my dad said when he did this business, I have many, clients or many friends, and some even happen to be clients. And I think that's really important. The vast majority of our clients, I see out in the community, and they're friends as much as they are clients, which I think is great.
You have the attention of a lot of people with this podcast. Who should listen to the podcast, and how should they reach out to your office?
Well, to reach out to our office is easy. Just give us a call at 782-1642 or stop in our office. We're at 635 2nd Avenue South. We are just north of Dairy Queen in Onalaska. On the main drag, we're on the non-river side of the street, so folks from La Crosse will certainly understand that. But we're right here, and I think that that's great. And again, a wonderful way to get to know us is to come to our office and sit down and spend 30 minutes with us. We're never going to charge. We're going to send you a sheet and say this, or you can go to our website at www.klaukefinancial.com, and we have a what to bring. And we just have a discussion. And again, I think it's so important because you have to, I think, when you're looking for a financial advisor, you have to find someone that you relate with and relate to, and that you can plan with. And you've got to feel comfortable because there will be good times and there will be bad times. And it's good to have that person. I think, again, what makes us unique is that, I've been in the industry a long time. I've watched the industry radically change, but I think that the one thing that we've always done is we've always stayed true to that. We're going to work one-on-one, and we're really going to get you, and we're really going to put a plan that makes sense for you together. So, I think that's, and the person that we really want to talk to is the person who wants to learn and be a part of the process, a part of the whole financial planning process. And I think what we help folks with, one of my other mottos is we only want you to retire one time by choice. Because I have had numerous clients decide that after being retired, they want to go back to work, sometimes in their old career, sometimes in new careers. And that's okay. But I want to put people in a position that when they retire, they don't have to go back to work. So I think if you're 5 to 10 years away from retirement, and you want to sit down and you want to say, what do I need to be doing? How do I need to be doing it? We're a great fit for that. I also think we are a spectacular fit for that small business owner who are a lot of times are in that same situation. And we can be a part of the team that helps you transition from being a business owner to maybe retiring. Or maybe it's being a business owner and bringing in a partner and having your business continue. Those are the things that we can be there to help, and we can be there not only to do the retirement plans, but also to be a consultant because, again, I have been in the industry a long time. And I still love to do the bread and butter insurance business, too, where we write lots of large term insurance policies because in a lot of cases that really makes sense for the younger family, and we're more than happy to do that. We've got tons of great companies, and it's an easy process to go through. So again, if that's something you're interested in, let us know. But my thing or my idea for you would be come give us a chance. Sit down, let's have a chat, let's have a conversation, and let's see if we're a good fit. And if we are, then we can go forward. If not, we can part as friends, and that's just fine.
Well, thank you, Mike, for letting us get to know you a little bit better today.
Yep. Thanks, Matt. It's been fun, and looking forward to doing this again. We've got all kinds of great topics coming up, and I'm excited. Hopefully soon I'm going to get one of my favorite accountants on, and we're going to talk a little bit about how taxes are going to be different in 2019 and beyond.
Wonderful. Well, please take a moment. If what Mike said resonates with you, make sure you click that subscribe now button below. That way, every time Mike comes out with a new podcast and a new idea, it'll show up directly on your listening device. And after listening today, if you know somebody who really should go in and give them a shot, go ahead and share the podcast by clicking that share now button below. So for everybody at Klauke Investments, this is Matt Halloran, and we'll see you on the other side of the mic very soon.
Thank you for listening to the Financial Heartbeat Podcast with Mike Klauke. Click the subscribe button below to be notified when new episodes become available. If you have questions for Mike, please call him at 608-782-1642. Visit his website at www.klaukefinancial.com or stop in for a visit at 635 2nd Avenue South, Onalaska, Wisconsin, 54650. Securities offered through Securities America Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Securities America Advisors Inc. Klauke Investments and Insurance does not give legal or tax advice. Klauke Investments and Insurance and Securities America are separate entities.